What if everything you've been told about healing is only half the truth, and your mind holds powerful abilities to recover, grow, and stabilize even without formal therapy sessions? Many people believe therapy is the only path to better mental health, but the reality is far more complex, nuanced, and deeply personal than a single solution fits all. You might wonder whether it's truly possible to feel better on your own, without professional guidance, or if that belief is simply a comforting illusion people tell themselves. The truth is, mental health can improve without therapy in certain situations, but understanding when, how, and why it works is the key to making real progress. Some individuals naturally develop coping strategies over time, learning from experiences, challenges, and emotional patterns, which helps them regulate their thoughts and feelings effectively. Your brain is designed to adapt, rewire, and learn, meaning that with consistent effort, awareness, and intentional habits, improvement is possible even without structured therapeutic intervention. However, this doesn't mean the journey is easy, quick, or guaranteed, because mental health is influenced by many factors, including environment, biology, and personal experiences. One important factor is self-awareness, which allows you to recognize your emotional patterns, triggers, and behaviors, helping you understand what affects your mental state daily. Without self-awareness, it becomes difficult to identify what needs to change, making progress slower and more confusing, even if you genuinely want to feel better. Another key element is consistency, because small positive actions repeated daily can gradually reshape your mindset, habits, and emotional responses over time. You might start by improving your daily routine, such as getting enough sleep, maintaining a balanced diet, and staying physically active, all of which support mental well-being. Physical health and mental health are deeply connected, meaning that taking care of your body can significantly influence your mood, energy levels, and emotional stability. Many people underestimate the power of simple habits, but regular exercise, even light activity, can reduce stress and improve overall mental clarity and emotional resilience. Another powerful tool is journaling, where writing your thoughts and feelings helps you process emotions, gain perspective, and understand patterns you may not notice otherwise. When you express emotions instead of suppressing them, it reduces internal pressure and allows your mind to work through challenges in a healthier, more constructive way. Social support also plays a major role, as talking to trusted friends or family members can provide comfort, understanding, and reassurance during difficult times. Even though it's not the same as therapy, meaningful conversations can help you feel heard and less alone, which is essential for emotional well-being. You may also explore mindfulness practices, such as meditation or deep breathing, which help calm your mind and bring awareness to the present moment. These techniques can reduce anxiety, improve focus, and help you manage overwhelming thoughts without needing immediate professional intervention. Another important aspect is limiting negative influences, such as excessive social media, toxic relationships, or environments that constantly trigger stress or negativity. By creating a healthier environment, you give your mind the space it needs to heal, grow, and function more effectively. You might notice that your thoughts begin to shift when you consciously challenge negative beliefs and replace them with more balanced and realistic perspectives. This process takes time and effort, but gradually it can reshape how you interpret situations and respond emotionally. Setting small, achievable goals is another effective way to improve mental health, as it builds confidence and creates a sense of progress and accomplishment. When you focus on manageable steps instead of overwhelming changes, it becomes easier to stay motivated and consistent in your efforts. It's also important to develop healthy coping mechanisms, such as engaging in hobbies, listening to music, or spending time in nature to relieve stress. These activities provide emotional relief and help your mind recover from daily pressures without relying on harmful or avoidant behaviors. However, not all coping strategies are helpful, and some, like avoidance or excessive distraction, may delay healing rather than support it. Recognizing the difference between healthy and unhealthy coping is crucial for making meaningful progress without therapy. You might feel tempted to ignore your problems, hoping they will disappear over time, but unresolved issues often resurface stronger if not addressed properly. That's why facing your emotions, even when uncomfortable, is an important step toward genuine improvement and long-term well-being. But here's where things get interesting, because while self-improvement is possible, many people unknowingly limit their progress by repeating patterns they don't even realize are holding them back. You might think you're improving simply because time has passed, but without intentional change, some emotional wounds remain hidden, quietly influencing your thoughts, behaviors, and decisions. One challenge of improving without therapy is blind spots, where you cannot easily see your own patterns, making it harder to understand what truly needs to change. These blind spots can keep you stuck in cycles of overthinking, avoidance, or self-doubt, even when you genuinely want to feel better and move forward in life. Without external guidance, it becomes easy to normalize unhealthy habits, convincing yourself that your struggles are just part of who you are, rather than something you can work on. Another important factor is emotional suppression, where instead of processing feelings, you push them aside, thinking you're coping while they slowly build up internally over time. Suppressed emotions don't disappear. They resurface later, often stronger, making it harder to manage them effectively without proper understanding or coping strategies. You may also rely on distractions, like scrolling endlessly, staying busy, or avoiding silence, which prevents you from confronting what's actually going on inside your mind. While distractions can provide temporary relief, they rarely solve the root problem, often delaying real healing and prolonging emotional discomfort. Another limitation is the lack of structured tools, as therapy provides proven techniques, while self-guided improvement requires you to discover what works through trial and error. This process can take longer and may feel frustrating, especially when you're unsure whether you're making real progress or just going in circles. You might also struggle with accountability, since no one is consistently guiding or challenging your thoughts, making it easier to fall back into old habits. Without accountability, motivation can fade quickly, especially during difficult periods when your mental energy is already low and consistency becomes harder to maintain. Another challenge is emotional intensity, because certain feelings, like deep anxiety or sadness, can become overwhelming without someone helping you process them step by step. In these moments, it can feel like you're drowning in your own thoughts, unsure how to regain control or find clarity. You may also misinterpret your emotions, labeling them incorrectly, which can lead to ineffective coping strategies and further confusion about what you actually need. Understanding emotions accurately is crucial because it helps you respond appropriately rather than reacting impulsively or avoiding the situation entirely. Another issue is comparison, where you look at others who seem fine without therapy and assume you should be able to handle things the same way. But mental health is deeply individual, and what works for one person may not work for another, depending on experiences, personality, and support systems. You might also underestimate the complexity of your struggles, thinking they are simple when they actually involve deeper patterns that require more structured approaches. This can lead to frustration when quick fixes don't work, making you feel stuck or discouraged about your progress. Another important point is that self-help resources can be overwhelming, with endless advice, tips, and techniques, making it difficult to know where to start. Too much information can create confusion, leading to inaction, where you consume knowledge but struggle to apply it effectively in your daily life. You may also struggle with consistency, starting strong with new habits, but gradually losing momentum as motivation decreases over time. Consistency is essential for improvement, but maintaining it without guidance can be one of the biggest challenges in self-directed mental health work. Another factor is emotional avoidance, where you consciously or unconsciously avoid situations that trigger discomfort, preventing growth and long-term healing. Avoidance might feel safe in the moment, but it often reinforces fear, making those situations even harder to face in the future. You might also lack feedback, meaning you don't have someone to help you reflect on your progress or point out areas where improvement is needed. Without feedback, it becomes difficult to measure growth accurately, leaving you unsure whether your efforts are truly effective. Another challenge is negative self-talk, which can sabotage your progress by constantly telling you that you're not doing enough or that change is impossible. These thoughts can become so automatic that you don't even question them, allowing them to shape your behavior and emotional state unconsciously. Despite all these challenges, many people still manage to improve their mental health without therapy by developing strong internal awareness and committing to consistent, intentional personal growth habits. The key difference lies in how actively you engage with your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, rather than simply waiting for time to heal what actually requires conscious effort. One powerful approach is learning to observe your thoughts without immediately believing them, creating space between your emotions and your reactions in daily life. This skill helps you avoid being controlled by negative thinking patterns, allowing you to respond more calmly and thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively to emotional triggers. You might begin practicing mindfulness, where you focus on the present moment, noticing your thoughts and feelings without judgment, gradually building emotional awareness and control. Over time, mindfulness can help reduce anxiety, improve focus, and create a sense of calm that supports mental health even without professional intervention. Another effective strategy is cognitive reframing, where you challenge negative thoughts and replace them with more balanced and realistic perspectives that support emotional stability. This doesn't mean ignoring problems, but rather viewing them in a way that empowers you instead of making you feel helpless or overwhelmed. You may also benefit from creating a structured routine, as consistency in daily habits provides stability and reduces uncertainty, which can positively influence your mental state. A simple routine, including regular sleep, meals, and activities, can create a foundation that supports emotional balance and resilience over time. Physical movement is another powerful tool, as exercise releases chemicals in the brain that improve mood, reduce stress, and increase overall energy levels. Even small amounts of activity, like walking or stretching, can make a noticeable difference in how you feel mentally and emotionally throughout the day. You might also explore creative outlets, such as writing, drawing, or music, which allow you to express emotions and process experiences in a healthy way. Creative expression can act as a form of emotional release, helping you understand your feelings without needing to verbalize them directly. Another important strategy is building a support system, where you connect with people who listen, understand, and provide encouragement during difficult moments. While not a replacement for therapy, strong relationships can offer emotional comfort and reduce feelings of isolation significantly. You may also start setting boundaries, learning to say no when necessary, and protecting your time and energy from situations that negatively impact your mental health. Boundaries help create a healthier environment, allowing you to focus on what truly supports your well-being and personal growth. Another effective habit is self-reflection, where you regularly evaluate your thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses to identify patterns and areas for improvement. Reflection helps you learn from experiences, making it easier to adjust your approach and develop healthier coping mechanisms over time. You might also practice gratitude, focusing on positive aspects of your life, which can gradually shift your mindset and improve your emotional outlook. This doesn't eliminate challenges, but it balances your perspective, helping you see beyond negativity and appreciate what is still working in your life. Another strategy is limiting exposure to negativity, whether from media, environments, or relationships that constantly drain your energy or increase stress levels. By reducing these influences, you create mental space for positivity, clarity, and emotional recovery to take place more effectively. You may also benefit from learning new skills, such as stress management techniques, communication strategies, or problem-solving methods that enhance your ability to cope. These skills empower you to handle challenges more effectively, reducing the likelihood of becoming overwhelmed by difficult situations. Another key element is patience, understanding that improvement takes time and that setbacks are a normal part of the process, not a sign of failure. When you accept setbacks as learning opportunities, it becomes easier to stay motivated and continue working toward better mental health. You might also focus on building self-discipline, maintaining healthy habits, even when motivation is low, which is essential for long-term progress. Discipline ensures consistency, allowing small actions to accumulate into meaningful changes over time. Another important factor is self-compassion, treating yourself with kindness instead of criticism, especially during difficult moments or setbacks. Self-compassion reduces emotional pressure and creates a supportive internal environment for growth and healing. However, it's important to understand that self-improvement without therapy has limits, and recognizing those limits can be the difference between steady growth and prolonged emotional struggle. Many people try to push through their challenges alone, believing they should be strong enough, but this mindset can sometimes delay the help that could make recovery faster and easier. You might reach a point where your usual coping strategies stop working, leaving you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unsure how to move forward despite your best efforts. This plateau often signals that your current methods are no longer enough, and that new approaches or perspectives are needed to continue progressing. Another sign is when your emotions feel too intense to handle alone, where anxiety, sadness, or stress becomes overwhelming and difficult to manage without guidance. In such cases, relying solely on self-help can feel exhausting, as you're constantly trying to fix things without having the tools or clarity needed. You may also notice recurring patterns where the same issues keep appearing in different forms, suggesting that the root cause has not been fully addressed. These patterns can be difficult to break without external insight, as it's challenging to see deeply ingrained habits from within your own perspective. Another limitation is emotional bias, where your thoughts and feelings influence how you interpret situations, often leading to distorted or unhelpful conclusions. Without someone to challenge these interpretations, it becomes easier to reinforce negative beliefs and remain stuck in cycles of self-doubt or worry. You might also struggle with motivation, especially during low periods, where maintaining healthy habits feels nearly impossible without encouragement or accountability. This can create inconsistency, slowing progress, and making it harder to build lasting improvements in your mental health. Another important factor is the depth of your struggles, as some issues, like long-term stress or deeply rooted emotional patterns, require more structured approaches. While self-help can provide relief, it may not fully address complex challenges that benefit from professional techniques and guidance. You may also find it difficult to process past experiences or unresolved emotions, especially if they are deeply personal or connected to significant life events. Processing these experiences alone can feel overwhelming, as it requires both emotional strength and effective strategies that are not always easy to develop independently. Another challenge is identifying unhealthy coping mechanisms, which may feel helpful in the moment, but actually prevent long-term healing and growth. Without awareness, these habits can become automatic, making it harder to replace them with healthier alternatives. You might also experience emotional fatigue, where working on yourself constantly feels draining, reducing your motivation and making progress feel slow or inconsistent. This fatigue can lead to burnout, where you temporarily stop trying altogether, even though improvement is still possible with the right approach. Another limitation is lack of perspective. as it's difficult to view your situation objectively when you are deeply involved in your own thoughts and emotions. External perspectives can provide clarity, helping you see patterns, strengths, and solutions that you might not notice on your own. You may also struggle with self-discipline, especially when your emotions fluctuate, making it harder to maintain routines and habits consistently. Discipline is essential for long-term improvement, but without support, it can be challenging to sustain during difficult periods. Another factor is emotional intensity, where certain feelings become too strong to manage alone, leading to avoidance, suppression, or overwhelming reactions. These moments often require guidance to navigate safely and effectively, rather than relying solely on trial and error. You might also notice that your environment plays a significant role, as negative surroundings can limit your ability to improve, regardless of your efforts. In such cases, changing your environment or seeking support becomes an important step toward better mental health. Another limitation is lack of personalized feedback, as self-help approaches are general and may not address your unique needs or circumstances. Personalized guidance can make a significant difference, helping you focus on strategies that are most effective for your situation. You may also find it difficult to stay consistent during setbacks, interpreting them as failure rather than a natural part of growth. This mindset can slow progress, making it harder to continue working toward improvement without encouragement or reassurance. Another challenge is emotional isolation, where you feel alone in your struggles, even if others are present, making it harder to open up or seek help. So, can mental health truly improve without therapy? Or is that idea simply comforting, and the honest answer lies somewhere in between possibility, effort, and knowing when to seek help? The reality is that improvement without therapy is possible for many people, especially when struggles are mild, temporary, or supported by strong habits and healthy environments. However, the effectiveness of self-guided healing depends heavily on your level of awareness, consistency, and willingness to actively work through your thoughts and emotions. You might successfully build routines, practice mindfulness, and develop coping strategies that gradually improve your mental health without ever stepping into a therapy session. These improvements can feel empowering, as they come from your own effort, showing that you have the ability to influence your emotional well-being positively. But it's equally important to understand that not all struggles are meant to be handled alone, and recognizing this is a sign of strength, not weakness. Some challenges require deeper exploration, structured techniques, and guidance that may be difficult to access through self-help alone, especially when emotions become overwhelming. You may reach a point where progress slows down or stops entirely, indicating that your current strategies have taken you as far as they can. This moment is not failure, but rather an opportunity to consider whether additional support could help you move forward more effectively. It's also important to remember that therapy is not the only form of support, as there are many ways to seek help beyond traditional approaches. You might explore support groups, community resources, or educational tools that provide guidance without formal therapy sessions. These alternatives can offer valuable insights, helping you understand your experiences and learn from others who have faced similar challenges. Another key point is that mental health improvement is not a straight line. Whether you choose therapy or self-guided approaches, there will be ups and downs, progress and setbacks, and moments of doubt that test your patience and commitment to growth. Accepting this reality makes it easier to stay consistent, even when results are not immediately visible or when motivation begins to fade. You might also find that combining self-help with occasional guidance creates a balanced approach, allowing you to maintain independence while still receiving support when needed. This flexibility can be powerful as it adapts to your needs rather than forcing you into a single method of improvement. Another important factor is listening to yourself honestly, recognizing when you're coping effectively and when you're simply avoiding deeper issues. Honest self-reflection allows you to adjust your approach, ensuring that your efforts are truly helping rather than just creating temporary relief. You may also notice that your needs change over time, meaning what works now may not work in the future, requiring you to adapt and explore new strategies. Growth is dynamic, and your mental health journey will evolve as you gain more experience, awareness, and understanding of yourself. It's important to avoid comparing your journey to others, as everyone's experiences, challenges, and coping abilities are different and uniquely shaped by their lives. What works for someone else may not work for you, and that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, or that improvement is impossible. You might feel pressure to handle everything independently, but true strength lies in choosing what genuinely supports your well-being, not what others expect. Another key insight is that seeking help, in any form, is not a last resort, but a proactive step toward maintaining and improving your mental health. You don't need to wait until things become unbearable to consider additional support, as early action can prevent challenges from becoming more difficult. You may also discover that combining small habits, like exercise, journaling, and social connection, creates a strong foundation for mental health improvement. These habits may seem simple, but when practiced consistently, they can have a powerful impact on your emotional stability and overall well-being. At the same time, it's essential to remain patient, as meaningful change takes time and cannot be rushed without risking burnout or frustration. Patience allows you to focus on progress rather than perfection, making the journey more sustainable and less overwhelming. You might also find that self-compassion plays a crucial role, helping you navigate setbacks without harsh judgment or unnecessary pressure. Treating yourself with kindness creates a supportive internal environment, making it easier to continue growing, even during difficult periods. Another important aspect is recognizing when your efforts are no longer enough, and when additional support could provide clarity tools.